It'll be Josi versus Juuse and Haula in the quarterfinals, and Phil is finally starting to look like himself as the Swedes live to see another day.
You're Locked On Predators, your daily podcast on the Nashville Predators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Locked On Predators podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Thank you for making us your first stop of the day. We are your free daily Nashville Predators podcast. I want to start out by shouting out all of our Locked On Predators podcast community and our everydayers who tune in to chat all things Preds every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The winter games are on, and there's no better way to follow them than with a bet on FanDuel. FanDuel will play your game. My name is Jack Williams, and I am the host of the Locked On Predators podcast and the Nashville Predators beat writer for the Hockey News. Before we get into today's episode as well, I want to advertise our Preds mailbag, Locked On Predators mailbag. We're going to do mailbag Mondays. Going to kind of get rolling a little bit more. I think I need to do a little bit more of a social push to get the questions flowing. But y'all, if you're hearing this, I highly encourage you to get into the comments, get into the description, the episode description, and the link is right there. I want all your questions. Fill out that Google form, send it off. You'll get a shout out too if you want, or you can remain anonymous. But Preds, Locked On Predators mailbag, check it out, please. But more Olympic talk today. We're really getting down to the slim pickings of it, y'all. Got some episodes lined up and some ideas lined up going here, but we're really digging for just whatever is left right now at the bottom of the barrel with the Olympic talk and Predators talk. We're in week 2 of no active play right now. It's starting to feel a little bit about the summer, but we got the Olympics going on, and we're going to continue talking about like that till we can't talk about it no more. And today we're going to talk about what happened in the qualification rounds. You had Switzerland and Sweden playing today. That means Roman Josi is playing today, and you had Filip Forsberg playing today. We'll start off with the Switzerland game, which was a 3-0 win over Italy. The way that matchup went, it was the last team that missed a bye, which was Switzerland, and then the worst team in pool play, which was Italy. 3-0 win for Switzerland. Roman Josi had a power play goal in that matchup. He's hit 4 points in 4 games right now, 2 goals, 2 assists. He's looking really good right now. Still just on his form that we've seen throughout the entire year. And as of late, just adding that offensive flair to his game, just looking really good right now. His 4 points in 4 games are actually the second most among defensemen in the Olympics right now. And Switzerland handled Italy in this game. In fact, it seemed like this was more of a blowout than what Sweden had put up against Italy. The whole thing with Italy and the whole thing about the Olympics, the name of the game is you got to be winning by a lot. And if it's a mismatch, you got to be blowing out your opponents. That's what really amplified Finland a little bit more with that 11-0 loss, knowing that they had that loss to Slovakia in the beginning. They were able to roll off an 11-0, 11-goal differential win over Italy there, and that gave them the juice to really propel into that final bye spot there in moving on into the quarterfinal rounds and not having to play in a qualification round type game as Switzerland and Sweden did. But big win for Switzerland here. Roman Josi scores again on the power play. It's all looking good right now for the Swiss and ramping up this momentum going into a quarterfinal matchup against Finland. This will be a matchup between 3 Predators, 2 on one team, 1 on the other. That is Juuse Saros and Erik Haula will be facing off against Roman Josi. And this Finland team's looking really good right now, y'all. They are just moving into good form. Really, Juuse Saros played really well against Sweden in the later game after having a tough loss to Slovakia to start off Olympic play. Really had a good ramp-up moment there, and then just did what he needed to do against Italy. Saw 15 shots, saved 15 shots. Got a really good confidence going for him. And Erik Haula has been a quiet force for Finland too in their bottom 6. Been doing a lot of what we've seen lately in the Predators and just providing a good supplement, a good solid core in the bottom 6 there. He's just carried his game. He's had consistency here, which is huge. And we're going to talk about that in the Olympic Impact segment second here, and just talking about how big Haula's Olympics are for him. He's not running away with points. He's not running away with goals or anything like that. not doing anything really crazy or insane, but just playing consistent hockey. And that's going to be major when we're talking about any sort of moves that the Predators want to make at the trade deadline or anything they want to do forward and just supplementing this group and possibly making a harder playoff push than they already have. It's been really nice, I should say, as well, getting a little break from Predators hockey and not having to scream about the wild card standings every day. That was becoming very stressful and very fatiguing. It's still going to be a very highly contested topic once we get back into play, as the Predators are still, I think, 4 points out right now. But that's a discussion for tomorrow. Right now, we're in Olympic land right now. We're going to stay in Olympic land and what has been blissful and wonderful and continue talking about the Predators are having good success there. Now, Finland's Switzerland matchup has gone as you would expect it in Finland's favor a lot of the times. Finland won the last meeting in the Olympics, which was a 5-1 quarterfinal victory in 2022. Finland would go on to win their first ever gold medal in 2022. You could count in that there was no NHL players in these Olympics. These are the first Olympics 2026 since 2014 that NHL players are playing in it. 2018, 2022, as we know, did not feature NHL players. But this Finland team looks like they're ramping up momentum right now. Switzerland does look really good right now. At the same time, you have to talk about, are they able to compete with a contender? Are they able to be a contender? Because they were absolutely slaughtered by Canada. And yeah, you have a good overtime win over Czechia, but Czechia is playing a little bit down a little bit more in this tournament. So it will be an interesting matchup for sure. Switzerland is chasing their first medal of any sort since 1948, which was a bronze medal in Olympic Games that they hosted. That was still amateur Olympics. Like, we're talking about pre-Miracle on Ice here. And it's been a long, long time since the Swiss have seen any sort of medal in the Olympics. But should be an interesting matchup for sure. There's a lot of great quarterfinal matchups coming up today for you guys. Fantastic. On Wednesday, the second one is going to be Filip Forsberg and Sweden have a big task at hand in playing the United States and trying to pull an upset off there. It's really strange to think that Sweden and the United States are meeting in the quarterfinal round, but Sweden has a tough go in this tournament. They did not beat Italy by enough. They did not beat Slovakia by enough, and they got blown out by Finland. That equated to them having to be slotted and playing Latvia in the qualification round. You know what? They proved themselves. They came out with a 5-1 win over Latvia, and Filip Forsberg scored his first goal of the Olympic tournament in what has been just a trying tournament for him. One that has tested his character, one that has tested his battle mentality even more than we've seen here in Nashville. It's been hard for him, to say the least. It's going to be really interesting to hear his take. And of course, he's going to be humble. He's a humble guy. He's a good guy. He's not going to say anything bad about his country, of course. But I mean, it's hard coming into these games when you have, I believe it's 47 points in 57 games. You come into these games, you have your first matchup against the Italy team that is solely there because they are hosting, and you play a minute 7 and get one shift, and your minutes slowly elevate, but you're nowhere near what you're used to on most nights. And there's an understanding that's going to slip a little bit more, but a 10-minute difference, 8-minute difference, that's wide. That's wide and difficult to deal with. But he, starting to easing his game a little bit more. It's starting to look like Forsberg a little bit more too, and him scoring this goal and finally getting his second point of the tournament, first goal of the tournament, really set up here by Erik Karlsson, Swedish legend, currently with the Pittsburgh Penguins, created his name with the Ottawa Senators, played with the Sharks a little bit, took the puck into Latvia's zone, kind of circled around, went over to the right side, was able to get a nice pass over to Forsberg on the left side. Forsberg has an easy tip-in shot to put Sweden up 3-0. And it's a good moment for him. And his ice time is going up a little bit more. His shift total is going up a little bit more. He had 13 minutes and 16 seconds of ice time this game and 16 shifts. That is a tournament high for him. And they're going to need as much as they can out of him when it comes to playing the United States. This is a United States team, as we all know, as most of the people that watch this are American and even more so live in the United States, that this U.S. team has been very good. They have not taken anything from anybody, and they are the silver medal contender right here, with it being Canada, the favorite for the gold, US the favorite for the silver, but it could go either way. It's those two right now and everybody else. But this is the Olympics. Anything could happen. Sweden is going to have its hands full, but it looks like Sweden is starting to get into its flow a little bit more after a very disappointing preliminary round. It looks like they're starting to find their ground a little bit more, and nothing says desperation hockey like playing for just staying in it, playing for a medal, just playing to stay alive, and your country's pride on the line. So that Sweden-US game is going to be at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time on Wednesday. And then if you guys are interested in the Preds versus Preds matchup, that's Switzerland and Finland. That's 11:10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Now, when we come back, we're going to get a little bit more off the stat sheets, and we'll talk about just the impact of this game and what this is going to mean for these 4 players coming back into Preds play, especially for Erik Haula. I know that might not be the game that most people might not be expecting, but he's doing a lot for his name right now. We'll talk about that right after the break. The Winter Games are officially here, and if you're anything like us, you're locking in for events you only get to see on the biggest stage every 4 years. And that's why following the Winter Games on FanDuel just makes sense. From medal counts to individual events to finding your angle on the sports you care about the most, FanDuel gives you more ways to stay connected to the action. The drama of curling matches that start slow and somehow get intense fast. We know all about what's going on with Canada and the cheating scandal they've been having. Cheating, I should say, quote unquote, and the nudges they've been putting onto the stone. Didn't think there was that much drama in curling, but it's been different this year. Speed skating races decided by inches, hockey games that feel different right from the opening faceoff, even niche events becoming must watch when you're fully locked into the competition. Y'all, I've been big on skeleton right now. Could you imagine sitting on your stomach and just flying through the ice like that? Nuts. Or on your back, which luge, crazy. FanDuel keeps the entire Olympics experience engaged from start to finish. The Winter Games are on, and there's no better way to follow them than with FanDuel. FanDuel, play your game. So, the Olympic impact. I had this in my notes as from the recliner, which I think would have been a little bit more fun, but I just put it as Olympic impact. But as a fan perspective, it's good to know what are you going to gain out of this and what these guys are going to bring their team. What have they gained from the Olympics and what are they going to bring back to Nashville? Because there's a lot to bring back. I mean, I can't think of how to pronounce his name right now. Slakowski, I think, for Slovakia, a guy in the Montreal Canadiens. I looked at his contract just to see if the Predators had a chance of maybe getting him the trade deadline. He's locked into a long 8-year contract in that first year, but he's exploding right now for Slovakia. And there are some players in these games that they'll go off in any Olympics. It could be basketball too. With professional athletes, they will go completely off, and that can change the trajectory of their season completely. I mean, I think when Teresa Walker was on there, I believe she mentioned Gabby Williams that we talked about at the Summer Olympics in 2024, a women's basketball player for France that was not playing in the WNBA, completely went off for France, gave France a chance against the Americans. Suddenly, after the Olympics, the Seattle Storm have signed her because she was just that good. And that can happen for a lot of guys here. It may not be as major as that, but there are good things that can come out of this. One of the big things, in my opinion, is Erik Haula. And Roman Josi's playing well, but we've seen a lot of that this year. Juuse Saros has been playing well. We've seen a lot of this year. Filip Forsberg's taking advantage of his opportunities, and we'll talk about that a little bit more, and that it might not do so much for his game, but more so about the stuff off the ice and the mental part of it. But Erik Haula has been big in my mind in the sense that he's not vanished. 3 points in 3 games. He's looking really sound, and just he's contributing in the bottom 6 in the best hockey tournament in the world right now. A lot of these guys in these situations, especially the one he's in right now, could easily disappear, not contribute at all. We've seen many guys go to the Olympics and put up a big old goose egg. Erik Haula is not doing that. He's finding ways to contribute, get assists, and just continuing the, little uptick we saw when he was in Nashville before the Olympics and seeing his game turn around a little bit more. Right now, he has 9 goals, 20 assists with the Preds, but a plus minus of -16, which is not good. That might be one of the worst in the NHL right now. So again, he's in the process of turning his game around a little bit more, finding that consistency. And this right now is so critical for two ways if you want to look at it. If you're on team, blow it up, rebuild it, whatever you want to call it. He's going to be big in what you want to go out into the market and get. Say the Preds want to trade for a good center, stronger bottom six center. Maybe you want to package him up or something. I don't know. But just seeing what he's doing here at the Olympics and a best on best tournament and finding ways to contribute is important in that selling point. And then you get to his play this season and just what he brought to this lineup and upping play a little bit more, even in those final 5-6 games before the trade deadline after the Olympic break. Erik Haula can just move over that consistency even more, continuing his Olympic success into the regular season. And that provides more of a selling point for GMs like Barry Trotz to say, look, here, he was playing well in the Olympics. He's playing really well right now for us. Don't you want him? At the same time of keeping him, he's going to give a stronger boost down the middle that the Predators have been looking for all season. The whole thing in the offseason was we need to fix the centers. Oh, we didn't fix the centers. Everyone else has to do it. And Erik Haula really could be that, and we might even see just a stronger strength and push from him coming back, because this is, playing well in the Olympics at any regard, that's a huge confidence booster, and I think this is going to be massive for Erik Haula. Or even if it's not massive, it's just going to be good. I don't see any way that you lose from the way that he's playing from in the Olympics right now. Juuse Saros, it's a lot of what we've seen this year where he's had to battle, and he's proven that he is good. He is the best. He can battle through whatever's thrown at him. As I've mentioned before, not great start against Slovakia, comes out, has a stellar 34 save performance against Sweden, and then just takes care of business against Italy. This game against Switzerland is going to be even bigger in just how he handles it. And that will put them in a fine and dandy place if they're able to beat Switzerland and face off against the United States or Canada. That's going to be massive. And that will just build his confidence, his momentum even more. He was slipping a little bit when we got to the Olympic break. It's going to be exciting what kind of Juuse Saros we might see after the Olympic break. Is it going to be more confident, more stable? Obviously, a lot of that, of what he was slipping on, goes towards the defense not playing well in front of him. I know there's the argument that it's the goaltending. The way I see it with that is that's a very... I don't want to say anything mean, but it's a very uneducated argument to make, because the way you look at it is, oh, well, he's the one letting in the goals, but there's many elements to a game that lead to goals, that there's a ton of ice in front of the goalie for the puck to come down, eventually come to them. So I think it's a more uneducated argument, but we obviously been doing a lot this year. This is going to be a major confidence booster, and it's going to be good to see that in Nashville and how that plays out. Roman Josi, he's dominant in this tournament. He's been dominant all this year for the Predators. He's been found ways even to be more dominant in this late stretch before the Olympic break, and just adding that offensive element to his game. In my opinion, he looks even better with Switzerland. I don't know if it's that 90 or whatever. I love that 90 number. I know 59 is a classic here, but that 90 looks so good. And he's just rolling. It's going to be really exciting to see him come back, especially just the guy with the age, the injury issues he's had, and just doing all of this is just, it's impressive. It's impressive. If Cale Makar was not being a demigod, essentially, I think Roman Josi would be a good candidate for a Norris. I'll go out and say that completely. It's just you have to take in the age, the longevity of what he's doing. It's impressive, and just he's adding layers and elements to his game, which are just fascinating to see. And man, this game is going to be exciting against Finland. I'm looking forward to it. And then Filip Forsberg, like I said, it's not so much about what he's doing on the ice. Obviously, he hasn't had a lot of opportunities, and you could argue that what you will. Personally, you guys know my opinion. I think it's ridiculous he's not getting played a lot, but it talks a lot about his character. And part of this fighting mentality of just battling through everything that we've seen from the Predators this year, from the extremely slow, awful start they had to a December where they've turned things around, and to now where they've been battling for about a month pre the pause, to get into the playoffs, and just the battle, the mentality. And that's really been on display here. And Forsberg's just adding an extra element of that, just being patient, finding his game, and eventually clicking a little bit more. And he could be a hero against the United States. I don't know how many people are going to like that here, but it might be a little bit conflicting. If he really goes off against the US, Sweden's going to have a really good chance to do something special. The battle mentality of him is going to be tested here. His mental has been really tested here, and it's prevailed. I mean, gosh, I'm not getting played in those first two games a lot. He could have just crumpled up and it could have been a disappointment this tournament, but he's not doing that. He's finding ways to get involved. He's finding ways to score. He's finding ways to be the star that was recruited onto this team and one of the best players in Sweden. That's the Olympic impact, and it's going to be impressive to see how that lays out, if it lays out at all, in that first game back against the Blackhawks. But before we get into the final segment, I want to talk to you guys about the Everydayer Club. I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Predators your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club and get Locked On Predators, no interruptions, members only Discord access, and more. It's $5 a month, $50 a year. If you guys are interested, lockedonpredators.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. When we come back, like I said, we're at the bottom of the barrel scraping for things right now. So why not open up the junk drawer? Why don't we sift through and go through the junk drawer? Let's do a quick one today and talk about what's going on in the Preds world and whatever I was able to pull out this week. You'll see the final piece of the junk drawer that I'm really looking for stuff, but it will be fun. We'll make it fun. We'll make it entertaining. It always is here, even if I don't think it is or whatever. I'm trying to put on a show for y'all. Anyway, we're going to get into an ad break here, and then we will come back with the junk drawer. New year, new systems. This is the time of year when a lot of us look back at the messier parts of how we run our businesses and think there has to be a better way. And there is. Streamlining your communications is one of the quickest upgrades you can make. That's why today's episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Quo, the smarter way to run your business communications. Because when your team is reachable, organized, and communicating in one place, you're not just working cleaner, you're creating more opportunities to connect with your customers. I love how simple Quo makes everything. Your whole team can text and call from one shared business number, so nothing gets missed. Everyone sees the full conversation thread, which makes replies faster and more personal. It works right from your phone or computer, and you can even keep your existing number. And Quo's smart AI tools automatically log calls, summarize conversations, and highlight next steps, so details never slip through the cracks. It's no surprise that Quo is the #1 business phone system on G2, trusted by more than 90,000 businesses, from solo operators to growing teams. Make this the year where no opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo for free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/lockedonnhl. That's quo.com/lockedonnhl. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. So we've arrived at the junk drawer, and we must have done some cleaning in this junk drawer, because there really isn't too much junk to talk about here. Have 3 interesting pieces, and the last one, I guess it's a conversational piece. It's just, man, there's just no Preds related stuff other than the Olympics really going on, or stuff that I haven't talked about already. And I feel like I really exhausted that pipeline last week with all the talking to guests and stuff like that. But I hope you guys had fun. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm working on getting more guests. They're also like good people. They're good friends. I love having them on as well. Anne, Emma, Nick, Teresa, Russell, a few episodes back. They're all fantastic. And even more people that haven't been on. They're all awesome. But we'll get into the junk drawer here. Kevin Fiala injury was a popular topic. I shouldn't say popular. It doesn't seem like the right word. It was a large conversational piece this week, because he was drafted by the Predators in 2014, 11 overall, played with the Predators from 2014 to 2019. And he injured his left leg yet again, underwent successful surgery to repair his left leg. After getting injured in Switzerland's loss to Canada, the Kings did confirm that he will be out for the rest of the season, which is just it's rough, because he's having kind of an uptick in his career right now. He had 60 points last year. I believe he had over 70 the year before. He had 40 right now, and he's out for the rest of the year. It's sad to see him get injured again because he was injured in the 2017 playoffs, suffered a broken left femur, and then didn't play for the rest of the playoffs. And it's just sad because, I mean, this is a guy that unfortunately seems like he's being hampered by injuries in his career over these past few seasons. Is really starting to break out a little bit more and looks like he was on a really good pace this year and is going to have to sit out. I know it was rough for a lot of Preds fans to see, and that he's a good guy, a great player, and just to see him get injured on that left leg, just it stinks. So nothing but good vibes for Kevin Fiala. Looking forward to seeing him come back. And yeah, former Pred that sadly was injured again. But we'll get into some better news down here. Jack Ivankovic, we've talked about him a ton this year. He was selected 58th overall in the second round of the 2025 NHL draft. He's a goalie. He was selected out of Mississauga/Brampton. They moved from, I think, Mississauga to Brampton in the OHL, and they're still the Steelheads, I think. That doesn't matter. He's playing at the University of Michigan right now, but he is a semifinalist for the Mike Richter Award, which is given to the goaltender voted to be the most outstanding in Division I NCAA ice hockey during the regular season. He's one of 3 freshmen nominated for this award, and it's impressive that he's doing this because he was injured in the beginning of January, suffered an injury against Notre Dame, missed the bulk of January, just came back this past weekend to take on Penn State. The results were a 4-4 tie, then a 6-3 win for the Wolverines. And he's still putting up great numbers, especially for a freshman. This is unbelievable. A .922 save percentage, a 2.13 goals against average, an 18-5-1 record with a .771 winning percentage. That's the 6th best in the NCAA right now. He has the 12th best goals against average and the 12th best save percentage in the NCAA. And reminder, he's a freshman. He's still really young. Coming from the OHL into the NCAA, that's a big adjustment, as we've talked about many times before. In the NCAA, you're truly playing with almost grown men. You're playing with a lot of guys that could be in their rookie, sophomore, junior seasons in the NHL. You have some bigger guys that are seniors, especially the way the transfer portal is right now. You can have guys that are 25 years old playing out on the ice in the NCAA compared to the OHL, which is juniors. And I believe the max out is 21. So it's an adjustment for sure. And to see Ivankovic do this at the pace he's doing right now, he's having a great year and representing Team Canada too. It's unbelievable. And this prospect pool is just growing and exploding right now. And Ivankovic is a major piece for that. It's going to be really, really interesting to see what the Predators want to do with him, because this is a really good goaltending talent piece right now. But I know the Predators have big plans for a 2-man tandem in Nashville with Saros and Ananen right now, and wanting to grow Ananen into the starter. Does Ivankovic step into that spot? It will be interesting when that time comes around, but as of now, he's tearing it up in the NCAA. Mike Richter Award semifinalist. Just more accolades for Ivankovic. We've talked about him so much. And then finally, the Predators posted a funny video on Instagram, and I thought it was worth chatting about because it's goofy enough. They were asked what is the largest animal they think they could fight and I think win. And I wrote down every response that they got from the social media team, got from the players. Saros said a fox because they're not that big. Eustace Ananen said a koala, which a fox and a koala. Well, foxes are like feral outside animals and still in the canine family, so they're kind of vicious. And koalas, I think koalas have like claws and stuff like that. They can be kind of vicious. I think I'm not going to say that on the podcast. They carry some type of disease that I think is inappropriate, so I'm not going to mention it. But if you get that, if you have a koala messing with you, you risk getting sick, and that's not good. McCarron said maybe a dog. There were a lot of responses here. Luke Evangelista said a small baby deer, and he's not the only one saying that, but it's just funny to think about. It's just a Luke Evangelista kind of answer, being like, just kind of, he just gives off the kid on the team, the little brother on the team a little bit more. I'm like, oh, I can take on a deer or a small baby deer. And then Ozzy Weisblatt said anything that doesn't bite or doesn't have sharp teeth, and proceeded to say a rabbit. And then added that, like, well, that's kind of quick. So, and those two knuckleheads were next to each other. You have Evangelista saying a baby deer and then Weisblatt saying a rabbit. So, I mean, it wasn't the worst answer on here, I will say that, but it was just goofy. Josi said a large dog, which I mean, have you seen how big the guy is? I think that would be a good fight. That'd be a good fight. Steven Stamkos said a cougar. Bro, I know you're like you're a future Hall of Famer completely. You're a beast right now, but you're not taking on a cougar. I'm sorry. Any big cat in this conversation, other than maybe like a fat house cat, uh, yeah, that's a big no. And then I think he said that, and Nick Perbix was like, "Don't those get pretty big?" And they do. So props to his confidence there, I guess. Adam Wilsby said a pig, and I think he said something that he's wrestled pigs before, which makes me interested. That has he done? They do mutton. No, that's a lamb. They do. Again, I'm sorry for messing this up because I am not native to this region of the United States, and maybe this isn't this region of the United States. Again, I did live in North Dakota before, where rodeo was popular. I don't know if rodeo is big down here. I think it has to be. It might not be the right region of the country. That might be a Great Plains thing, but I thought like there was some sort of event with like you had to like wrangle a pig or something like that, wrestle a pig. I could be so wrong. I could think of mutton busting or mutton chopping or the one where you hold on to the sheep when you're a kid. I really should not be talking about rodeo right now. I don't know anything about rodeo other than like there's bull riding, there's team something, which is when you ride a horse. And I only know this because I wrote a story about this. It's team something, and you're riding a horse, and it's like cowboy wrangling too. Anyway, Adam Wilsby said he would wrestle a pig. Jonathan Marshall said a baby cub. I can't remember. His accent's so thick, so he said something after I couldn't understand. But I don't know, a bear, like a bear cub. I think cub is more words. I know I'm showing how much I don't know about animals right now. I love animals. I got a dog. He's wonderful, but he said a baby cub, which I guess that could work. Don't want the mama around. Nick Perbix finally settled on a deer because he said he could get a good cold on the antlers. Cole Smith said a deer. Erik Haula, and I needed to look this up. He made like a really like strange comment. He said James Neal's zebra, and I don't know if that's like I don't know if that's like a whole thing on the oh wait, does he? No, wait, this is from earlier. Owner of a zebra lost the animal. Oh wait, no. I don't know why he said that. I don't know if it's a joke just about like officiating and zebras, and because like Erik Hall said James Neal's zebra, and this could be something that's going right over my head. I didn't want to look it up. The only thing that I looked up right now was the zebra that got out this summer in Nashville. If you guys remember that, and was like roaming around for like, I think it was pretty long. It was like longer than 3 days or 3 days. But he said that. I don't know if that was a dig on officiating or an actual zebra, but when he comes back to town, maybe I'll ask him about it. Ryan O'Reilly said a hyena. He had a cute answer too. He's like, "Oh, ever since I watched The Lion King, I've never liked hyenas." So that was fun to hear. And then Nick Blickenberg settled on a dog. Most of these guys didn't want to take on dogs because dogs are awesome. I have a dog, as I mentioned before. I'm tired. Can you tell? But a lot of fun answers there. A little bit goofy. Also want to mention too. I had it in my mind, didn't write it. End up writing it down, but I'm remembering it now. Ryan O'Reilly is launching a children's album very soon. This was news back in like November, December. And his band Mac and Cheese, that one of his buddies that he played with in juniors, they made a song called like Pizza Party, and they actually played it at one of the games too, but they're getting close to releasing a children's album. And yeah, that's cool. It's just another musical thing that Ryan O'Reilly does. Truly one of the most interesting guys in hockey, and just how involved he is in really the Music City scene of it too. But that was the goofy ending to this podcast. I have a plan for tomorrow for y'all, so we'll have something a little bit more structured, and then I'm trying to work on something that will be extra special and a lot of fun. So you guys will want to tune in. You'll want to tune into this podcast no matter what, but you'll want to tune into one of the episodes later this week if what I'm working on pans out completely. But that's all I got for y'all today. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Locked On Predators podcast. You can find all my stuff at Jack G. Williams on Twitter/X. I am Jack Williams on the Hockey News Nashville Predators. And hey, if you're just interested in Locked On Predators, LO_Predators on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, we're just Locked On Predators. If you guys are interested in the Everyday Club, $5 a month, $50 a year, don't have to hear me do ad reads, ad-free audio, members-only Discord access. If you guys are die-hard Locked On fans, that's taking your experience up one more level. And then want to throw it back in here too. Remember to check out the mailbag. Send in your forms. Send in your questions, please. In the description. It will be in the description on YouTube. It will be on wherever you listen. I'll pin it on Twitter. I'll tweet it. I need to stand by my word because I said I would do that last episode. I haven't. It will be on Twitter if you guys want to check it out. Send all your questions. It could be like, what's my favorite food too? Like, or it could be something like some of the ones that we got last week. One of them that really stumped me was, is it more Dave Poyle or Barry Trotz's fault that this organization has fallen apart? So ask away. Ask anything. Check out that Google form. Absolutely recommend. But again, that's all I got. I'm very thankful for you guys. Very grateful for you guys. Love these conversations that we're having. And hey, looking forward to talking with you guys tomorrow on another episode of the Locked On Predators podcast.